All right, man, peace. So now this is going to be the fourth and final installment in my NBA 2018 playoff preview. This video will feature the Rockets versus Timberwolves series, but first, Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman will be interviewing Mr. Donovan Mitchell, the rookie sensation for the Utah Jazz, as they ask him questions about how he believes their series against the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to go. Of course, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
The Rockets advancing means a possible matchup with Russ and the Thunder, or does it? The Jazz are no pushover, especially with our guest Donovan Mitchell playing at the elite level he's playing at. Donovan joins us now from the Jazz practice facility in
Donovan Mitchell's performance against the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, is going to be integral to their chances of defeating the Oklahoma City Thunder, who, for all intents and purposes, at least on paper, have far more playoff experience. But they don't have any more championship experience, at least championship winning experience, than the Utah Jazz do. I think that Donovan Mitchell, as long as he keeps his mind focused on the right things and doesn't get caught up in a mano-a-mano matchup against Russell Westbrook, they definitely have a chance to win the series. They have an opportunity, they have a chance. And Donovan Mitchell is one of the very few players in the NBA that plays in the backcourt that even has the opportunity to say that him going against Russell Westbrook is not going to be a complete physicality mismatch, a complete athletic mismatch. So it should be very interesting to see where this series goes. I think that the most important thing for the Utah Jazz is to try to make it a mental game against the OKC Thunder. Make it a mental game. Don't fall into the physicality versus physicality game. Make it a mental game. And they will definitely up their chances of winning exponentially.
In Utah. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Donovan, what a year so far. You had a phenomenal regular season. You're essentially in a two-way race for Rookie of the Year. And now in your first ever playoff series, you get to go up against the reigning MVP in Russell Westbrook. Tell me, how are you feeling? What's the strategy in this first series facing Russ?
Before Donovan answers, let me say this. Once again, make it a mental game against Westbrook. Even if you have to talk a little trash to make him more over-aggressive than he normally is, you can definitely outthink Russell. You can make him make mistakes. There's no doubt about that, because sometimes his brain and his body moves a little bit too fast for the game. Russell's in his 9th, 10th, maybe 11th season, I'm not quite sure, but he still does not understand tempo. So use that against him. Make it a half-court game. Make Russell make decisions in the half-court. Highlight how he alienates many of his teammates. Make Carmelo Anthony sulk up and down the floor because he's not getting the basketball where he wants it. They can beat OKC, but they have to play to OKC's weaknesses, not their strengths.
Right now, understanding that, everything that's happened in the past 82 games is over with. Now it's basically like a new season. And playing against a team like the Thunder, they're physical, they're talented. So it's going to be a lot of fun going against these guys, going against a guy like Russ, who's, like you said, is the reigning MVP. But, as a team, I think we're really locked in and focused on playing within ourselves and playing connected like we have been all year.
And that's the most important thing. They're definitely going to have to stay within themselves. Do not get caught up in the machismo. When teams get caught up in the machismo with the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's when you give them a better chance than they deserve to have. They don't have particularly smart players. Their leadership is not known for their basketball IQ. Highlight that. Make them execute in the half court.
And I think if we do that, we'll be in good shape.
What do you think,
See, that's when Westbrook's at his best right there, when he's running like a damn deer.
is your biggest advantage against the Oklahoma City Thunder? I mean, we think about them, we think about the big three, but guess what? The big three might not be just include Melo or whatever the case would be. It might be Steven Adams to a lesser degree. A lot of people talk about how strong he is down low. Jimmy Butler once alluded to him being as strong as an ox. How much of a problem do you expect the big four, we'll call them, to be for you guys, considering how formidable you guys are defensively?
Well, if the big four are a problem for the Utah Jazz, the series is not going to last very long. I think that their defensive scheme should be to guard each one of the OKC Thunder one-on-one. Because what that's going to do is that's going to encourage Westbrook to take a lot of shots. Stay at home. Guard your man one-on-one. No fancy schemes. Donovan Mitchell is going to be your job to guard Russell Westbrook. If Russell gives you 40, oh well. Make sure that it's on 39, 40 shots. And I guarantee you, the game will be close down the stretch and you'll have a chance to win.
I think the one thing that we do well as a team is we move the ball. Like I said, we stay connected, which means we're all on the same page. We're always moving, even moving without the ball. We move the ball, we share the ball. And I think the best thing that OKC does, they play the passing lanes well. So
yes, they're very good shooting the gaps. Between Paul George and Westbrook, they shoot the gaps very well. You can use that against them, especially with a lot of back cuts. Utilize a lot of back cuts, it will make them gun shy in shooting the gap, going for steals.
So it's gonna be good to go against a team that really aggressive and get a lot of steals. Like you got a guy like PG, who's one of if not the best perimeter defender in the league. So it's gonna be a good matchup for us. You got Steven Adams, who's aggressive in the pick and roll. So it's gonna be fun for our offense to go up against their defense.
That's another matchup that many people are not talking about. The Rudy Gobert versus Steven Adams matchup. Don't sleep on that. Rudy Gobert is going to have to play very well. If Gobert can give them 16 and 13 in the series and 3 to 4 blocks a game, I believe that Utah will win the series. I'm going to save who I'm picking till the end of this video.
Donovan, as aggressive a player as you are, period, but especially for a rookie, and as confident as you are, and seeing Russell Westbrook there across from you, the most aggressive, confident guy like in sports, how do you...
The most over-aggressive, overconfident man in the NBA. In regards to all the sports, that's a very grandiose statement. I'm not going to go that far. But Russell Westbrook is the most over-aggressive, overconfident star in basketball. There's no doubt about that.
How do you control yourself from making it about comparing yourself to him, about doing it against him, and remaining instead a team player? How do you psychologically prepare yourself for that?
Very easy. Just don't listen to idiots like you.
Psychologically for me, all year, there have been people have asked me, when I go against certain guys, do I get hyped? Do I get excited? And naturally, just being in the playoffs, you get excited. But this isn't a one-on-one matchup. This is
absolutely good answer, bro.
This is a team versus team game, and the biggest thing about me is I'm a selfless person. I don't really look at it as saying I'm going against a guy like Russell Westbrook. I'm going against all 15 of them, and they're going against 15 of us. And I think that's
a great answer. Once again, that is why he has endeared himself to Utah, the state of Utah, the franchise, and most importantly, his teammates. That's why they feel so comfortable divesting control and leadership of the team to him, because they know that he's extremely mature and he has their best interest at heart. He's not looking for glorification.
That's just the way I've been approaching it. Where the strength of our team has been the team. There's not been one person who's kind of egotistical at all, or it looks at it.
Not to cut the brother off, but when you truly analyze Donovan Mitchell and Ben Simmons in a vacuum, you can tell that they were raised in a very strong environment that was led, not necessarily dominated by, but led by masculine energy, because they always conduct themselves with comportment.
We're all in good shape as far as that goes, and I think for myself, I won't take it personally. I'm just going out there just trying to help my team win in any way that I can.
Donovan. Oh, go ahead, Stephen A.
Donovan.
Damn, Molly Karam will not let either one of them get a question into Donovan Mitchell. I wonder why. I wonder why she's so eager to talk to Donovan Mitchell. I wonder what's on her mind right now. Her damn glasses getting foggy.
One of the things we rave about when we think about Russell.
Look at that. She had to take the glasses off.
Westbrook, it's not just his ability. It's that assassin's mentality. I call him the most ruthless competitor in the NBA today.
No, what Russell Westbrook is quickly becoming is the most overrated player in the NBA today, and that's saying a lot because the brother's a great player. But the way that you guys talk about Russell Westbrook in the national sports media, you would think that this guy was Isaiah Thomas combined with Michael Jordan. I mean, give me a break. He's an all-time great super athlete in the NBA. Great athlete. He's accomplished certain things that nobody thought would be accomplished ever again. He's done that. Great. He has to raise his mental acumen up at least 3 levels to get to the point where he can be seriously considered as the leader of a championship level squad.
I mean, he just seems mad at everybody that doesn't wear the same uniform as him.
Well, sometimes he seems upset at his own teammates as well, especially if they try to get rebounds that he thinks are his.
knowing that he has that kind of attitude, do you guys talk about those things, the level of aggression he's going to bring, not just with his skill set, with his attitude, and how important it's going to be for you to match that intensity, if not, dare I say, try to eclipse it?
Well, that's foolishness. Once again, you don't try to outstrength a great player's strength. And that's any athlete in any sport. When you're trying to create a game plan, you know that a certain batter is going to approach the plate and he loves fastballs. You don't bring up a fastball pitcher. You don't tell your fastball pitcher, just throw one right down the middle as hard as you can. No, we're going to make it mano y mano. No, you try to appeal to that person's weaknesses. And that's the problem in the sports media. It's filled with fanboys. So everything with them becomes this huge comic book level altercation. Like when you were a little boy and you'd make up these different possible fights. What if the Hulk fought Superman? That's how these idiots are on television. Oh man, Russell Westbrook, he's so tough and aggressive. How are you guys going to out-aggressive Russell Westbrook? Why would you even be thinking like that? You're trying to create a scouting report so that you can tell your players, okay, Russell, when he goes left, this is what he likes to do. If you let him drive right, this is what's going to happen. That's what you're concerned with. You're not concerned with all them ugly-ass faces he makes after he dunks on somebody. Who cares about that shit?
Yeah, I think obviously I don't think we talk about it. I think this is one of those things that you just know. You know, we've had
Thank you, sir. In other words, that's a dumb question.
Physical matchups the 4 times we played them. They got the best of us in the season series, but you know, with a guy like that, you just got to understand that he's not going to stop. You know, he can go 0 for 30, and that's what I respect about him as a player. You know, he can go 0 for 30, but when the moment counts, he's taking that 31st shot with confidence. And
now, what is Donovan Mitchell really saying with that statement? He can go 0 for 30, but he's going to shoot the 31st shot with confidence. In other words, it's known throughout the NBA that Russell Westbrook is a stupid player with an extraordinary amount of talent. If you let him, he will shoot his own team out of the ball game. That's what he's basically saying.
He's never stopping. So, like I said, whether we're up 20, down 20, any particular game, you know, he's going to continue to come at us. We just got to be ready and locked in as a team to be able to understand and weather that, you know, the storm that he brings on every possession.
As long as you stay loyal to your defensive principles, you'll be fine on that end in regards to guarding him. It's not going to be like many of those games during the regular season when he scores 45 with 15 assists and 12 rebounds against the Orlando Magic. Stay home. Make sure that you keep your defensive principles in mind, and you will raise his shot attempt count. And that's what really matters, because the more shots he attempts, the more he's taking away from his teammates. They're already playing a playground style of offense. His teammates will soon start to become disinterested, and that's when you can make your run. It's going to be a very slim and close series, even if Utah plays at optimal level, because OKC, of course, has the experience and they have the talent advantage. Before Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman give their predictions, let me give mine. I think that the series is going to be very close, very competitive, but I think that the margin of error for the Utah Jazz is going to be too small, too slim for them to be able to defeat the Oklahoma City Thunder. I wouldn't mind seeing Utah go on a little magic carpet ride in their bracket of the Western Conference playoffs, but I just don't see it. I think that OKC, they just have too many advantages when it comes to talent and also when it comes to overall experience in the playoffs. I think that Utah has the advantage when it comes to scheme, system, and coaching, but I just don't think that it's going to be enough. So I'm going to pick the Oklahoma City Thunder in 6.
Donovan Mitchell, number love for you, bro. Number love for you. I got this series going 7 games, but I think the fact that the 7th game would be in OKC and it would be Russell Westbrook, as great as you are a rookie, and you're going up against a league MVP, all right, who honestly is a league MVP candidate this year.
No, he's not. He's not a league MVP candidate this year. These guys want to make 15 players in the NBA candidates for the MVP. It's so much nonsense. Who do you realistically believe has a chance of winning the MVP award? That is what an MVP candidate is. LeBron James is barely an MVP candidate, because we all know that James Harden should be the runaway winner of this year's MVP award. But due to the fact that LeBron James has so many plants in the mainstream liberal sports media, they've tried to garner up this late support for him. So who the hell knows how this vote is going to turn out? It may be very close.
Averaging a triple-double for the second consecutive year, along with a guy in Paul George that you call one of the great perimeter defenders, and he is. I don't see you having enough help offensively, Donovan.
I agree with you, Stephen A. Smith.
I think it's going to be a 7-game series because y'all play some defense. I think you're going to go off. I think Rudy's going to do his thing. But I see that 7th game in Oklahoma City, and I can't bet against Russell Westbrook in that situation against y'all.
Don't sleep on Ricky and Joe.
In spite of the fact that Stephen A.
Okay. All right.
In spite of the fact that Stephen A. you seem to say every single thing there is to say about this series, I agree with you. It's a 7-game series. I agree with you. Sorry, Donovan, that the Thunder win, but I in fact believe that the X factor is Carmelo Anthony, who I believe for years was an overrated player.
Absolutely. For years he's been overrated, and he's still overrated.
And I believe has become an underrated player.
No, sir. He's been terrible this season.
Because he's made sacrifices for this team and the offense, and now everyone's acting like he can't play. When you rip...
They're not acting. The man can't play. And beyond that, the little bit of juice that Carmelo Anthony has left to give to professional basketball is being wasted playing alongside Russell Westbrook. And believe me, as soon as they're finally knocked out of the playoffs, that man is not even going to give the OKC media a chance to have an exit interview at his locker. That man is going to pack up his shit. He's going to be running out the door, one of those long sticks over his shoulder with the handkerchief at the end of it, with some of his stuff from his locker. That man's going to be out of there. Once again, Russell Westbrook is your favorite NBA player's favorite player to watch while he's at home chilling on the couch, but they would never, ever, ever want to play with him. Ever. And that is why the Russell Westbrook show would be best as a one-man show.
Really need a bucket. Carmelo can score from anywhere on the floor. I think he's the X factor in Game 7 in the best first-round series in these playoffs.
He might be a rookie, but he's playing like a vet. That would be Donovan Mitchell. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck to you.
And
Thank you.
let me give you my number.
Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Thunder Jazz Game 1 Sunday at 9 p.m. All right, gentlemen, let's keep it moving. The Rockets are the clear favorite to advance past the Timberwolves, who are back in the playoffs for the first time in 14 years. The only question is, how many games? So, Max, you first. How many games will it take for Houston to advance past Minnesota in the first round?
Before Max Kellerman answers, let me say this. I think that the Timberwolves are the perfect matchup for the Houston Rockets from a Rockets perspective. Meaning, if you want to get the playoffs off to a very good start, the Timberwolves were a perfect matchup for you. They play little to no defense, they don't run, and they don't get exceptional enough point guard play to put any real pressure on James Harden or CP3. And how healthy exactly is Jimmy Butler? I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves have underachieved for the majority of the season. I think that Tom Thibodeau is the wrong coach for their squad. I think that he's going to run down a lot of those young boys. They need to bring in a better coach, but that cannot happen this season. I think that the Rockets will win in 5, at the very worst, possibly a sweep.
I'm going to say 5. I'll say a gentleman's sweep because I have that much respect for Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler. But a gentleman's sweep. They are just going to, listen, Houston.
If the Timberwolves want to impress me, if Andrew Wiggins wants to impress me, take on the challenge of guarding James Harden one-on-one and show the league, show the NBA what you were so touted about coming out of college, that you were this great defensive player. Show me that, because they're not going to expect that much from you on offense. It's not like you're expected to carry the load. You can pretty much score 20 points in transition. You're like 22 years old. You should be able to guard James Harden and just get your points in transition and let the offense run through Butler and Karl Anthony Towns. That would impress me if Wiggins did that, or if Thibodeau had Wiggins try to do that. In regards to the point guard matchup, we already know that CP3 is going to toy with Jeff Teague. But if Jeff Teague could somehow find a way to make Chris Paul work on the defensive end, maybe they could possibly stretch it to 6 games. Who knows?
It's a bad matchup for them. They're going to put him in that pick and roll. It is going to be a problem. And Jimmy Butler guards James Harden really well, but they pick him off in the switches and take him off of Harden, and it's a wrap.
That's the problem. That's the main problem, is that they have Jimmy Butler on Harden. Andrew Wiggins needs to take on this challenge and go guard James Harden and free up Jimmy Butler to lead the offense along with Karl Anthony Towns.
It's a wrap, and that's what I think they're going to do.
I agree. I just don't think Minnesota has enough firepower. I will give them a chance at 2 games, though. Even though I got them losing this series in 5, I can tell you how it'll go 6. Karl Anthony Towns has to be Karl Anthony Towns. We know that.
Well, he's going to have to be a little bit better. Karl Anthony Towns, for this series to go 6, is going to have to average in the high 20s and in the mid-teens in rebounds.
He can't fold in the playoffs, and I certainly don't think he will. But it's not just Jimmy Butler. Tom Thibodeau is going to have to pull Jamal Crawford off that bench, and Jamal Crawford is going to have to go and 1 on these boys.
Well, that's exactly what's not going to work, Stephen A. Smith, but I wouldn't expect you to understand that because you still think that you're on the New York City blacktop back in '88. It don't work like that anymore in the NBA, bro. Those guys who want to dance all day on an elbow, running down the shot clock, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to throw off their team's offensive flow, and if they're playing a high-level team, it's going to turn into transition points. That's it. It's not 1988. You're not at the Rucker with Mark Jackson, bro, with you on the sideline waiting for a chance to get some run. Nah, man. Right now in the NBA, it's all about moving the basketball and finding an open shooter and running the pick and roll.
He's going to have to go James Harden on these boys. And it ain't like he's incapable of it. Don't think for 1 second.
The reason why James Harden is going to win the MVP this year is because he's not even playing like the James Harden of previous years.
1 second that Jamal Crawford can't come out of nowhere and drop 40 on somebody. He can't.
Look at this. The average margin of victory is over 15 points a game. This is going to be, at worst, 5 games.
He can. Whether he will or not remains to be seen. It's highly unlikely that it'll happen this go round. But I do believe that the combination of Jamal Crawford and Jimmy Butler exploding together can give them 2 games in this series instead of 1. But that's the best I could hope for with Minnesota.
Get me hyped there, Stephen A. Rockets set an NBA record for most three-pointers for a 2nd straight season. Game 1, Rockets T-Wolves. That one's Sunday at 9. We are not done yet.
Well, we'll see what happens with that series. I don't expect anything out of the expected for that series. I expect the Rockets to win that series rather handily, no worse than 5 games. That's a great starting off point for the Rockets also. A talented young team that they can build their confidence against in their playoff run. Get to the second round, most likely have a little mini dogfight against the OKC Thunder, but we'll see. Anyway, peace.